Hi, everyone. This is Ellen from the Astrology Journal. I have decided to start a video kind of journal where, as I explore child development and human development, I kind of have this video outlet to think out loud as I do it. I'm interested in it from two perspectives. I'm interested in child and human development from two perspectives. One, from this perspective of healing, and especially my healing, but generally just understanding healing. Sorry for my runny nose. There's something in the environment that's causing my nose to run, and it's been going on for a while, so I'll do my best. So anyway, so I'm interested in my own healing, and I'm interested in healing generally. I'm not a healer. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm just a person going through life, learning as I go, learning as I heal, and trying to better understand things as I go. I do practice astrology for myself, and I have maybe 25 years off and on of learning about astrology. So that's more my field. I don't do readings here and there. I've done some. I'm more interested in it, looking at my charts and looking at my chart and looking at the lunation cycle. So that's my background. But I've started reading some books on child development. And so I'm interested in it from, as I said, the healing perspective, but also from the perspective of the archetypes in the chart. I feel like one of the ways I want to be able to relate to astrology, use astrology, understand astrology, is through the lens of human development. What are the archetypes telling us? How can we see those through the lens of human development? So that feels really important to me at this time. So anyway, here is the quote. This is by Stanley Greenspan. I'm reading his book, First Feelings: Milestones in the Emotional Development of your your baby and child. So on page 15 to 16, I'm reading the archive.org copy, or the Internet Archive copy. And this was written in 1989. He was, I believe, a child psychologist. He devoted his life to understanding the emotional life of the child. So the quote: "The capacity to experience the world as richly and deeply as possible through one's senses is also a foundation for emotional development. The person who early in life tunes out many of the messages he receives through his senses begins a pattern that, if it continues, will later rob him of the full range of emotional experience." So our emotions, the foundation of our emotional development, is on our ability to use our senses and to understand the feedback that our senses give us, the ability to be open to our senses and understand what they're telling us. So this is Taurus. Senses is Taurus, ruled by Venus. The inner side, Taurus is the inner side of Venus. Taurus is the first earth sign, and the last earth sign is Capricorn. So in Capricorn, what we're doing is mastering ourselves. A lot of times people think of Capricorn as outer achievement, but actually that's just kind of the secondary thing. The real work is the inner mastery that we do as we go about our lives. The drawback, the challenge of Capricorn, where Capricorn can go awry, is that it can prioritize sort of the expectations and the rules over its authentic self, and it can climb the mountains. Capricorn is the mountain goat. It's also the sea goat. It can spend its life climbing the mountains that other people wanted to climb, and then it gets to the top and it feels isolated and alone. It's because it's not connected to itself. It didn't learn. It learned to tune out, as it's saying in this quote. It learned to tune out its connection with itself, and the foundation of that connection is Taurus, with our senses. So Taurus helps us build the foundation, the very basic foundation of knowing ourselves, and also of security. Excuse me, and also of security, inner security. So how does it do that? It does that through our senses. So we learn as we open up to the world around us, we have all these senses that give us input. And our work early on is to um, get acquainted with those and learn those. So, at a very basic level, they're saying, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. And that is our navigational tool very early on. And so, and by learning that, we gain the very foundation of security in ourselves. It's like, oh, okay, I know what feels good, I know what doesn't feel good, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. I know what pleasure is, I know what pain is. I don't want pain, I know I want pleasure. And of course, this can all go, there's a sextile to Pisces. Pisces is addiction and distraction and whatever. But if we just think of just Taurus as in its healthy foundational sense, we need that ability to be able to say, I like this, I don't like this. This feels good, this doesn't feel good. That's our navigational tool. That's our foundational navigational tool. And if we shut that out, as it talks about in this message, then we rob ourselves of the full range of emotional experience. So the emotional experience, and also we rob ourselves of being able to really achieve mastery of knowing ourselves and really being able to enjoy that experience. Because if we're climbing somebody else's mountain, we're probably not enjoying the experience. We're depending on external praise and approval to feed us as we do that. But that's addiction. But if we're mastering ourselves and we're connected with ourselves, that's a different experience. So anyway, emotions is Cancer, and that's opposite of Capricorn, and it's sextile Taurus. So the foundation of the emotional development, Cancer, is in the senses, and then Cancer is the in can't so every sign kind of works in polarity with another sign. So the Capricorn is the sea goat. That tail is in the water, and that's the Cancerian side of it. That's the emotional connection. And it can be easy for Capricorn to lose connection with that emotional connection as it um, as it seeks to follow the rules that others set for it, as it seeks to live up to the expectations that others have decided are best for her or him. And so that can get us out of whack in terms of our senses, which means we don't have a good foundation for our emotions, which means what we can do is shut ourselves off from our emotions. So, the key takeaway here for me, in terms of thinking about development, human development, child development, is that the foundation, in my view, the foundation of security, but also the foundation of emotions, and also the foundation of mastery, is in Taurus in our senses. Now, you could argue it goes back to Aries, but because that's our identity. But I'm just working with this quote, so we can understand that Venus and Taurus are to be able to what we can, if we're challenged in a Capricornian kind of way or a Cancerian kind of way, one of the places we can look is Taurus. And how well has that been developed? There are other places we can look too, but understanding that this is a foundation, we can look there. It's like in fitness, if there are progressions, and in order to do the triple loop, whatever, you have to first be able to roll on the ground, let's say, something like that. And before you can roll on the ground, there's probably something else. So what you're wanting to do in fitness is you're just always wanting to find the foundations of the foundations of the foundations, and figure out where you are, what foundations you're needing to build. We tend to want to prioritize doing the really cool, amazing thing. And the thing is, sometimes we can do those things, but that doesn't mean we're doing them with good solid foundations, and we can end up hurting ourselves. We get overuse injuries over time. And so the idea is it's always about where's the foundation. I can achieve, say, or now let's go back to the archetypes. I can do that. But if I'm doing that disconnected from myself, then I'm going to wind up depressed and alone and lonely and isolated and, miserable. And so there's a foundation that's missing. And so we're always wanting to go, what's the foundation that's missing? Um, Elite athletes, going back to fitness, they understand that most of their time is spent on the fundamentals, learning the fundamentals, drilling the fundamentals, getting the fundamentals down, tweaking their form, all of that kind of stuff. And that's how they're able to do the amazing things that they're able to do, because they're focusing on foundations and always building foundations, always finding those spots where they can work a little bit more. So that's how I'm thinking about astrology, and also development, and also my own healing. Okay, so where's the foundation? I'm struggling in this area of life or whatever. What's the foundation? I can convince myself. I can say, well, I can give myself all sorts of things, like I can do that no matter what. It's just a matter. I don't know how to explain it. Like, when I was an athlete, when I was a kid, it was like, I was going to, you didn't want to be humiliated. So you always kind of proved you could do something. But like I said, just because you can do it doesn't mean you actually have the foundations to be able to do it. There are a lot of things we can do. I could get up from this chair theoretically and go for, a run, probably about 3 steps, but I could do it. But I don't have the foundation for running. So I could keep, and then every day I could go out and I could run a little bit more. But the reality is my body doesn't have the strength to handle running yet. So I would need to be able to, or I would need to focus on building up the basic strength and whatever else is needed to be able to start running in a sustainable way. And then I'd have to be able to make sure that I was not running too fast or too far. Starting out, I could do it, but it wouldn't be good for me. It wouldn't be sustainable in the long term. So when we're in life, and our lives start breaking down, in a sense, just like in fitness, if our bodies start breaking down, well, what's the foundation? Where can we look back and find that foundation? That we can start working on, that we can start repairing. So yeah, and I was going to say, like, I can convince myself with mantras or whatever, and those could potentially help, but nothing's going to help if there's a foundation that's missing and we're not addressing it. I think that's the point that I'm wanting to make. At least that's what makes sense for me. Okay, that's all. If you listen, thank you. Again, these are my journal notes on trying to understand development in and of itself for my own healing and as it relates to the astrology archetypes. Okay, take care. Bye.